Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing the Zenith Chronomaster Original 38, a lovely and evocative tribute to the 1969 reference A386. This is a handsome, vintage-inspired watch with a modern drivetrain. So, the watch, as you see it, is 38 millimeters in diameter in stainless steel. It measures 13 millimeters thick. From lug tip to lug tip, it's 46 millimeters, but if you include the end links of the bracelet, it's a little bit broader across the wrist. It's 50.6 millimeters with a 19 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now, you pop open the clasp. We throw this watch on my wrist of 16 centimeters circumference. You can see it's an easy fit. Now, because of the bracelet, it is a bit broader than if the watch were on a strap, but even so, I'm going to say on the bracelet, you could wear this on a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. And while it's not the thinnest chronograph in the world, it is thin enough to slide underneath the cuff, especially since the case flank is stepped and the sapphire is nicely sloped. So this is a good watch for sports casual, sports use, or even full formal, and it's probably best to consider this to be something of a unisex option, particularly on a strap. It would fit a lady's wrist. Now, taking a look at the bracelet, you can see a couple of design choices made by Zenith include a conforming end link that traces the slope of the lugs and the curvature of the case. We have a 3-link design with polished centers, a little bit of a taper, satin finished shoulders. There's a rolled bevel on the side, and then the outer faces are polished. Removable links are fixed by screws, and this is a fairly well-ventilated bracelet as the gaps between the links are large. Not only does this prevent the pulling of hair or pinching of skin, it also releases heat from the wrist. We have a single fold polished deploying clasp. It's steel like the bracelet in the case. We have a clamshell lock. There's a Zenith star externally, and then internally we have a little bit of adjustability engineered in as we have 5 divots drilled, and you can use your strap tool to move the spring bar, change the anchoring point, and change the sizing, fine-tune the sizing of the watch. You can see more removable links here. We have a lovely case band. It's integrated lug design. The lugs are a little bit squared off and undertucked with a bevel on their flanks, and they have a satin finish on their tops that radiates outward. It is quite literally a radial radiation of brushed satin. We have a vintage-inspired set of pump pushers and a Zenith Star logo on a push-down crown. The watch is 50 meters water-resistant. Because this is a vintage-inspired watch, we have a dramatically domed sapphire that gives you both the vault and the distortion of a vintage plexiglass. Then we have a dial that combines a bit of the old and the new. The old is the general coloration, layout, and the use of the tritone overlapping registers. The new is the quality of the materials used, but also the fact that we have this remarkable striking 10th system. We have a chronograph with a foudroyant, or flying seconds hand, a lightning seconds hand that makes 1 circuit of the dial every 10 seconds. The purpose of that is to make it easier to gauge tenths of a second. Every El Primero built by Zenith for Zenith, never mind the Rolex models, but every El Primero built by Zenith for Zenith has been a 10 beat per second watch that could, in theory, resolve 1/10 of a second with its chronograph, but it's hard to do when the scale is small. It's difficult to read those hash marks, so Zenith decided to break up the seconds, 10 seconds, over 360 degrees of dial, making it easy to read. For example, 1.6 seconds elapsed. Now, we also have a chronograph 60-second subregister and then a 60-minute dial, which I like because most chronographs only give you 30 minutes. Even the ones that have hours, minutes, and seconds only give you 30 minutes. Here you have 60 minutes elapsed, but of course you do have to make one sacrifice. There is no hours register here. We have rhodium-plated applique steel hour indices, and we have white varnished hands at center for the hours and minutes. Let's do a loom shot here. And you can see the dial is quite well loomed. We also have a date disc in a stepped aperture. You can see the step is somewhat faceted, so it's not a sheer cut from the dial down to the date disc. There's a little bit of a progressive step down, which I like. Now, the watch includes hacking seconds, which historically has not been a feature on El Primeros. It also includes a quick-set system for the dates. You can rapidly cycle that. Now, one of the reasons you have that hacking seconds system is because this movement is the next generation El Primero. Let me do my best to get this underneath the camera. Okay, so we have El Primero caliber 3600. This debuted in In 2019, for the 50th anniversary of the El Primero, initially it was available on limited editions. It keeps what was best about the old movement, makes some upgrades. So upgrades include a 60-hour power reserve rather than the old 50. Upgrades include hacking seconds, where before there was none. And the jouling is higher. It's now 35 versus 31 originally. Now, things that don't change: a lateral clutch with a column wheel to operate it for a crisp traditional chronograph action. We also bring back the silicon escapement, which uses a lever and a pallet wheel to index the balance, and the system is unlubricated, high efficiency, and makes for better performance in between servicings. And of course, the traditional El Primero 10 beat per second, 36,000 vibration per hour beat rate returns. And so the watch has a wonderful double-step cadence to it. When you hold it against the ear, it's audibly beating faster. You could see, perhaps better from this angle, the blue column wheel, which has tremendous feel, and the fully visible lateral clutch, a feature that's not always present on automatic chronographs. The El Primero has always been a good-looking automatic chronograph caliber, and it remains that today. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.